What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the home of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, and I co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team last year, 2021, I reached out, our team, the team I was on, reached out to over 100,000 dads and fathers around the world directly and indirectly. So as always, I like to say, you are blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And that thing about dads and fathers is relevant to this conversation today. I have a friend back today. She hasn't been back for a while because she travels, she helps parents, helps families, she has a life of her own. I wonder whenever she takes a pit stop. I don't know when she takes a pit stop, but I think this may be one of her few pit stops. We have Tosha Schore back on today, and she's going to be sharing about a great course she is going to share for free to you to help raise boys. So let me bring her on. Tosha Schore is back in the house.
Hey,
Tasha, what's
Dr.
going
Rod.
on?
I was rocking out to your music backstage.
I saw you in the green room. You were getting into it, so you like a good bass, right?
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love it. How have you been?
I've been really, really well. Thank you.
Good. Well, it's always great to have you share with our community. We appreciate and don't take it for granted. But for those who don't know you, can you give a little background about yourself?
Absolutely. So my name is Tosha Schore, and I am known to some as your partner in parenting boys. And I run a business called Parenting Boys Peacefully. And the mission of that business is to create a more peaceful world, one sweet boy at a time. And I do that by helping parents like you who have boys who are struggling with challenging behaviors, often aggression, and teaching you how to help him move beyond those behaviors in ways that are connection-based, that work, but that also feel good to you. So you're not stuck in that, yucky place of feeling like you need to punish or be harsh with your sweet boy, because that never feels good to us as parents, and that fractures our relationship with our child and ultimately doesn't even get us the results that we're looking for. So it's kind of a lose.
No, it's good stuff. And again, a lot of people may not know, we know each other. We've been communicating for a year, and we help each other out wherever we can, especially our passion in helping boys. Why did you get started on this journey?
Ooh, well, I'm a mama of 3 boys. My boys are now 15, 17, and 20. We all went jet skiing together on Monday. It was so fun.
Cool. That's nice.
Anyway, it was so fun. So they're big. We can do all these fun things. Just a side story. It was so funny. I said to my boys, hey, you guys, you want to go jet skiing on Monday? My 20-year-old looked at me and he was like, is that safe? I was like, who around here is 20 and who around here is 50? You want to go or not? Anyway, so I've got 3 boys, and when they were little, I struggled and they struggled. And one in particular struggled with aggression. And it felt like, I know a lot of you probably feel like you have that boy, right? Like there's whispering, oh God, I hope he's not, going to be here, or not getting invited to the birthday parties. Having big meltdowns out in public when he didn't get his way, just having huge feelings come out. Sibling struggles, right? Especially between my 2 older ones. It was just really, really hard. And essentially I hit bottom, and my mom had known of this woman who she thought could help me. And she said, you should reach out to this woman. And as it turned out, on this big, giant, spinning planet Earth that we're on, she was literally like 10, 15 minutes away. She was leading a support group. And I started going to that support group. And through her, I was able to learn some amazing tools of connection that helped me transform my boys' behavior, my behaviors, and our family, ultimately. And it also allowed me to experience what it felt like to be supported, right? To have people by my side when I was down, I was struggling, and I was struggling with things that were embarrassing and I felt ashamed of and I didn't know what to do about. And I was surrounded by this group of people who had my back no matter what. They're like, you can do this, you've got this, here are some tools, you're not a bad mom, there's nothing wrong with your boy. And I needed to hear that. I needed someone to tell me there's nothing wrong with him, there's nothing wrong with you, we can get through. And ultimately that's what I did. And then I just made it my life mission. I'm like, there are too many parents out there struggling who are feeling what I was feeling, like it's hopeless, like your boy's going to grow up and be, the next fill in the blank, horrible, rapist behind the dumpster, or the school shooter, or the, treat his partner horribly. Parents come to me with these fears. They're projecting out years ahead, but the fears are real. And I've made it my business to help allay those fears by teaching you what you can do now to help life go better now and in the future.
Wonderful. Love that. What was the first year of this journey like?
The first year of this journey, I cried a lot. I cried a lot. Like I said, that feeling of hopelessness weighs you down. And like any big transformation that you're going for, it's often, one step forward and half a step back, and then 2 steps forward and 1 step back. It's never a smooth journey forward. So it was hard, and there were times that I doubted myself, but that's why that group support is so important. And it was also exciting because I gained a hope that I didn't have before. So even if it took me a little while to start seeing results, I was confident that I could make them happen. Like if I had no confidence when I went in and started going to that support group, after a month or two was already like, okay, I've got this. I know what to do. I just have to keep practicing. And so, yeah, that's kind of what it was like.
Then just piggybacking on what you shared with us, when was the first aha moment saying, you know what, I'm onto something here? Do you remember that at all?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if I remember the exact aha moment. I definitely remember aha moments around why I wanted to do this work. But I don't remember an aha moment specifically about my own kids.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
So when approaching parents about helping with their boys, it sounds to me to be something that parents are loving. They say, you're my savior. Was that something right from the beginning that you noticed that yes, we need the help?
Absolutely. I mean, you've had experience with me now. I can just share that I invited Dr. Vibe in to come into my community and help me lead the dads in the community. And one thing I want to say is that, because I know, what you do for work, Dr. Vibe, in supporting fathers and men. One of the things I've really made it my business to do is to create a safe space, or like you say, a safe and brave space, right, in my world, and in the peaceful parenting world for dads, because 99.9% of the conversations around peaceful parenting, around helping our kids and doing that emotional work is happening with the women. And our boys need those men. Like, if you've got a dad in the picture, you need that dad, right? So I've really made it my business to make sure that dads have a place. I forgot what was the original thing you asked me. I forgot.
No, just that when you approach, even in the early days,
I know.
Solutions to help raise parent boys to parents, was it just an initial parent saying, Tosha, you're my savior?
Yeah. So right, that's why I started to talk about the work that we're doing with the dads, because one of the dads in there has said to me, or said to other people, and I overheard. I'm like, can I share this? He said, yeah. He said, when I came to you, Tosha, it was me or him, meaning like it was so chaotic in that house. He had said to his wife, it's me or him. And this is a dad who's an older man. He's already got grown
Wow.
children. He and his wife, his second wife, adopted a child in from the foster system. He's a teen now. And when he came to me, he was a tween, and it was me or him, as he said. They were just at each other's throats all the time, and it was really uncomfortable. And he'd said to his wife, me or him, one of us has to go. And he was just reflecting on that recently in one of our
Wow.
meetings, how
Wow.
far they've come, and how every
Yeah.
evening he said they enjoy like a game of catch or some basketball out front, a little something together, and how much their relationship has transformed, and how the aggression rarely rears its head.
Well, I know the gentleman you're speaking of, I believe. So we won't give out his name, but I'm touched to
Yeah.
hear that, and he has that heart. So I know he truly means it. So
Yeah, and I feel like honestly, this is like I said, it's an older man. It's a challenging situation. It's not his first rodeo. He's been through this before.
yep,
He parented his first, sort of set of children very differently.
yep,
So it took a lot to say, I want to do this differently and admit this is not working, and ask for help. I mean, that's hard to do as a man, harder than it is for us women. And it's harder as an older person. So I really, I take my hat off to him because
yeah,
he's really been vulnerable. And that's what you have to do. Now, if you've got a kid who's struggling and you're feeling, ashamed or worried or embarrassed or all of those things, it's like those are real feelings, and it's okay to feel all of those things. It's normal to feel all those things. We want to feel all those things. Um, and it's important to get yourself in with a group of people who have similar challenges, so that you can put the embarrassment aside, the worry aside, and sometimes practice new strategies to help things go better. So it's like a balance. It's like, on the one hand, yeah, we want to feel our feelings and acknowledge that it's hard and feel hopeless sometimes, but we don't want all those feelings to spill out on our kid. We want to do those on the side, with our therapist or support group or whatever it is, so that we can show up for our kid with practical strategies and help him through.
folks, if you're watching this live in the replay, Tasha's laying it. She's dropping knowledge bombs. So take notes, ask questions, whatever. I want to ask. There's so many different ways I can approach. What are some signs from your journey that not good aggression in a boy? What are some signs that, and they could be general, could be specific, but when should a parent or parents or those acting as parents be concerned when it comes to a boy or boy's aggression?
Yeah. Well, I would say that if the aggression has been going on for a while and you notice yourself kind of in a pattern of responding the same way that's not working, you'd want to get help. Or if the aggression has been going on for a while and you've been ignoring it, um, assuming it'll just pass, he'll grow out of it, I would seek help. Aggression is kind of sneaky. Like, it doesn't tend to go away on its own. I mean, yeah, if you have a 5-year-old who's, pushing and shoving, yeah, probably he will grow out of it. But even that, it's like, do you want those long years of kind of waiting for the feedback from friends, getting left out and all that, or teased or bullied or whatever because he's not nice? Or do you want to help him now so that things go more smoothly for him? So really, if you have an inkling that aggression's an issue, it probably is an issue, and there's no harm in addressing it.
Nice. So let's start talking about the workshop itself. How did it come about? How did you? Because you've seen it in your own boys, some of your own boys, and you notice in parents. So when did you start thinking, how can I, or what can I do, developing a workshop around this?
Yeah. So essentially, I've been doing this work for almost 2 decades, and I've got a following, and I ask them questions. I try to be really responsive to what they want, and essentially, it was pretty basic. I sent out an email and said, "Hey, where are you struggling?" and had them answer some questions. And and just to remind viewers, like I'm working with parents of boys, right? Parents, 2-ish to 10-ish, although at this point, there's some 11, 12, 13s in there too, because they've been with me for a while. Or there's just more teens coming my way. But essentially, like I said, where are you struggling? And over half of the responses had something to do with aggression. And so I wanted to put together a course, and it just became clear, like, okay, these people need help dealing with aggression. So I can help people. And so I created a course called Out with Aggression, a step-by-step practice to stop your boys' aggressive behaviors and lift your parenting confidence. It's a course that I sell. But I didn't want people to have to just dive into that course without any sense of me or what they were going to get out of it. So I created this workshop that you've got up here, How to Stop Your Boys' Aggression. And we do it over about a week. The next one starts next Tuesday on the 13th of September. It's a combination of 3 videos that you'll get by email, and then 3 live workshops that we'll do with me and you on Zoom, group workshops. And it really gives you a sense of me, a lot. I'm not the only one who can help you, but how you can sometimes just connect with somebody's energy or something that they said. And so this gives people a chance to see if I'm a good match for them, if they feel like I can help guide them to where they're trying to get to. And it also gives them a sense of how I work. We have, when I put the course out there, and after the free workshop, which is about a week, like I said, I will open doors to the course for 3 days. You don't have to take the course in order to participate in the free workshop. But for those people who are like, okay, yeah, I want to dive into this, I want support in getting through this, that's the opportunity to do that. And so during the workshop, you're going to get a sense of what the support calls that happen during the course will be like. Those live workshops will give you a sense a little bit about how we interact, because the course has like 10 live calls and 3 guest experts I'm bringing in, et cetera, et cetera. But the workshop gives people a chance to get to know me, and also to see what it feels like to be live and in a group of people who are struggling with similar things. Because one of the things that's really hard about having a boy who's struggling with aggression is that we really get shamed a lot as parents, by teachers and coaches and family members, even friends' parents, our kids' friends' parents, sort of that side eye kind of thing. So it's embarrassing, and we have no place to go. And so my goal is to create a safe space for you all to be together and say, hey, this is what's going on. Like I always say, you got to lay your cards on the table face up. I need to know what's going on to be able to help you. So we are honest. We are open with one another in these workshops about what's going on. We tap into how we're feeling about our boy, and ultimately get some tools to go home and use to help life go better.
I love this, and I certainly love the aspect of, and as Tosha mentioned earlier, I'm blessed to be with her, and we do a once a month call with the fathers. And the last time we did a call together was about how are the fathers handling back to school. And this, I love what you're doing in this workshop. You're not just focusing on the boys, but also how are the parents handling the aggression.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I can you go a little bit deeper on it? Because I think that's a very important point, because people may just think about, oh, we're just going to talk about boy. No, we're going to talk about you too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I could just break the news to you now. You can't control how someone else behaves, nor can I, right?
That's right.
So I can't make my kid behave a certain way or talk a certain way or not talk a certain way any better than you can. But what both of us can do is show up differently to a challenging situation. So we have control over how we respond. And we also have the developed brains and ability to seek out resource and gain skills that we can use with our boys, so that the aggression lessens and lessens and lessens over time until it disappears. Wonderful. But yeah, we got to do our own work, yes. Right? And I've been talking a lot about mindset lately. It's like if you're walking around saying, "Oh my God, my boy's a bully. He's a meanie. He's a hitter. He doesn't know how to make friends or keep friends or treat his friends," or all these stories that we're telling ourselves, or even worse, saying out loud so our boy can hear, so our partners can hear, so the public can hear. That's putting that energy out into the universe, right? We don't want that energy out there. So that's why I say, when I talk about the workshop and the course that I do, I don't say it's for aggressive boys, because I don't want to label them as like they're aggressive. They're struggling with aggression. That's one little piece of who they are. They're amazing, sweet, lovable, intelligent, curious, human beings, and they're struggling with this aggression piece. They're struggling maybe when they don't get what they want, or when they have to share a parent, or whatever it is. But that doesn't mean they're bad. That doesn't mean
Right.
they're bad. So we have to keep our mindset. We've got to change our stories. So even if like all you do is listen to this video, you don't even join the free workshop, ask yourself, what story or stories are you saying out loud, or even to yourself in your head, about your boy? And how can you rewrite
Mm,
that story so that
mm,
instead of it's like, yeah, my boy's a hitter, it's like, maybe it's something like, I noticed that my boy really struggles or really has some big feelings when he, doesn't get what he wants, or I don't make a dinner that he likes, or whatever it is. Um, I want to help him with that.
nice.
I bet this could look different.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure this out. It's a different
Nice.
energy. It's a hopefulness, and the reality is, and I say this to parents all the time. Like, if you got a boy who's struggling with aggression, you are the perfect person to help him through. There is nobody else on this planet who has the knowledge about him that you have, who has the love for him that you have. There's just no one else. Nobody else wants this job. I know you don't want it either, but you've got it, right? I had it, and truthfully, you're really well suited to have success in helping him through.
It's interesting. One of my mentors, when it comes to helping men, told me a long time ago that men emu- emulate what they replicate. So, in a lot of ways, or maybe I got to mix it. I don't know if I get it. Replicate what they emulate. Replicate what they emulate. And that a lot of times men copy. So, what you said there about the parent is the best person to make that turn when it comes to aggression. They
Right.
can be the lead. That's who the boy is looking for, to be the
Totally.
lead.
Yeah. And I got parents who come in who are like, I want to break this cycle. Like, there's just been a generational cycle of
Mm,
of harshness towards kids, right? Maybe you're listening to this and maybe you struggled when you were little and your parents were really harsh with you. And you're wanting to break that cycle. You're wanting to do it differently, but in the heat of the moment, you're triggered, and like that's what comes out, because that's what was done to you, and that's what you know.
yeah, you don't know anything else.
Right. I mean, it doesn't mean you're bad. It just means that's a place of growth for you. And I've got a lot of parents who come in ready to make that shift, and I love to welcome dads in. I really tend to have a real good rapport with dads.
You do.
Yeah, you're in the group with me.
You do.
I have a real soft spot in my heart, because
Absolutely.
there are not a lot of spaces, like I said before, for men to move into the parenting space and take on meaningful roles in helping with their children's emotional intelligence, right, and their the building of that. And I think you're important, and I want to help you find your way in.
Well, everyone who's watching this live or on replay, this lady's the real deal, and I stand behind her. And I'm not just doing it. There's thousands her in her community that stand behind her. I'm just one of many, but I am one of many. So I
Yeah.
put it that way. Let me ask. It's been a challenging last few years for raising boys. From your lens, how has it impacted aggressiveness in boys the last few years? Because a lot of boys were inside,
Yeah.
and now we're transitioning to another stage of the world where they're going back outside. When we're recording this or broadcasting, it's like school has just started.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I just asked somewhere recently, I can't remember, about this question. Do you feel like COVID has has moved your boy to a place of increased aggression,
Mhm.
decreased, or no change? And it was kind of a mashup, honestly. And so what that said to me is that everybody's different.
Yeah.
And the truth is, Dr. Vibe, aggression is very scary to us. It really gets our feathers ruffled. We're terrified of what our boy's going to turn into. We are terrified for our safety. We're terrified of being judged. It's just we have huge reactions as adults to aggression. But what worries me more are the boys who go in, right? Who get quiet, who don't say anything, who you can't read, you don't know what their feelings are, right? We
Well,
get scared. Yeah.
no, sorry to interrupt. It's just I was just reading a story about they did a survey on um, worldwide, 8 million children lost a parent or parents because of COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
8 million children in the world. And so anyone who's watching this live on replay, think about how that can impact a child that is challenged by aggression.
Yeah. 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 I mean, there's a lot of trauma. This is our latest. There are always lots of traumas. And just to be clear, like aggression doesn't necessarily have to be born of a trauma that we can put our finger on. I mean, COVID is an obvious culprit, right? And yes, it's negatively impact many children. Um, but it could be aggression could like right now this time of year, school aggression more than the COVID. I see people writing me around this time of year. Aggression skyrockets when these boys go back to school, more than I saw with the pandemic. Like this time of year
Wow.
is just key because most schools aren't set up for the kind of boys that most of us have if they're struggling with aggression. Right?
Yeah.
Many of them have big energy. They need to move around. They're curious. They might not express themselves in a way that is, quote unquote, acceptable in the school environment. People take their words very seriously and don't recognize that their actions are calls for help. So yeah, the back to school can be a really, really hard time for a lot of families of little guys.
I know you mentioned earlier, maybe I didn't catch it. What will people who attend this workshop get as what would they leave with?
Yeah, so you'll see on that link, I wrote down some details, but I would say that you would leave if you join. When you join, I want you to
Yeah.
join. When
Yes,
you
when
join
you
us, you got
join. Yes,
nothing to
let's
lose.
speak the positive. Let's speak the positive. When
Yeah,
you
you
join.
got nothing to lose by joining us. You will you will feel an increase in confidence, and like that is huge. Like the energy, the mindset we bring to this work is key. You will realize that you're not alone in your challenges, in your struggles. You will gain hope that there are things you can do, and you will actually gain some really particular skills that you can go away with and use. You're going to stop doing the things that you do, like try to like talk till you're blue in the face. Talk to him about how he knows better. Try to convince him that he should be feeling differently about certain situations. You're gonna have an easier time of letting go of the things that aren't working, which is oftentimes the first step that we need to take. And also, you're going to firmly step into some new strategies that will, over time, help things go better.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I think that this is especially not only this time of year back to school, but again, what we've experienced as a world over the last few years. This is perfect timing
Yeah.
for this workshop. It's really, really good timing. Uh, how would you, just a little, let's say a Tasha tip. So, so a little touch, give two, if you can, two or three tips, high level, but I know you're going to go deeper in doing your course. How you suggest parents or caregivers, I forget to use the caregivers, help out their boys with aggression back to school?
One thing that you could do is stop kind of digging for information and instead listen more. So one thing that parents will often do is they, kid will come in the door or you'll pick them up from school or however it is that you reunite after the school day if they're in a school, and we'll start prying. What'd you do today? How was it? Did you have a good time? Did you learn anything? What'd you learn? Um, I think we need to lay off. Like
Yeah,
it's a really good idea to just say, "Welcome home,"
beautiful. I
or
love
"Good
that.
to see you."
No, I love that, because the reason why I love that, one, it's not only good for our boys, it's good for our girls, but it's good for our human beings. Well,
Yeah,
I love that. Welcome home.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is true in Canada. I know you're in Canada. I'm here in the States, and there's this new. I think it has to. I don't know what it has to do with actually, but there's this new trend that you go into a restaurant or a store, and the person there says, "Welcome in." Does that happen in Canada? Happens
Yeah,
everywhere I go now.
we have not, it does happen to some place, but not a lot. But I love, like, that's the real form of just welcome home.
Yeah, and it's great. I go into a place, I walk into a restaurant and they say, "Welcome in," and I feel like, oh, they want me here.
I
They
get
notice I'm here.
yeah, I get that here. I think you get it here at a lot of restaurants. It's more the tone. Is it sincere?
Also, and it's also the lack of expectation, right? When our kid comes home or we were reuniting after a day at school and we start sort of, tossing questions at them, um, we're like asking something of them. We're
Mm,
not welcoming them home. We're saying, I want you to give me
report.
information. I need to know about this, do that. And it's like, that's what's been happening all day, probably. People have been telling them what to do. Big people, right? Adults have been telling them what to do.
Yeah.
So, another thing you could do, welcome home, or just do a little some type of connection activity with them when they get home. Maybe you do puzzle together, or maybe, if they're a gamer, maybe you sit down and play one level of a game with them, or something like that. But like sort of meeting them in their world rather than trying to pull them into yours
I like
right
that.
right away.
I like that. That's that's a knowledge bomb right there, everyone who's watching. And I think not only good for our kids, but good for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's
Really
other
good.
things, but I think that's plenty to start.
We only asked for one. If people want more, there's the link. You want more? That's where you go. Uh,
Yeah.
what's up next after this course?
Well, so I do the workshop, and then, like I said, free to anybody who wants to join. Those who make a decision that they want to dive deeper and really, like, and
Yeah.
get to the meat of it, and
Hmm.
really really work deeply with a group of parents who are wanting to help their boy move beyond aggression. Then I've got the course after that. The rest of the year, what I do is I run a community called the Playhouse Community. It's a virtual online community with many live components, and so I go back to that. And a lot of people who take the course end up joining the Playhouse and hanging out with us the rest of the year. Because if there's one thing that I've figured out, unfortunately, peaceful parenting, although it is gaining traction and there's more talk about it, it's still pretty countercultural. Like, most of
Yeah.
us still have relatives or friends who are going to say, you need to give that kid a whooping, or, how do you let him talk to you that way? Or he needs to go on a timeout. And if we're trying to, or are committed to, I should say, parenting our boys peacefully, which is my mission, then we need to surround ourselves with other people who have the same goals, who have the same commitment, because otherwise we're going to be pulled back in. There are too many people. There's too much noise. saying you should be going back to this, you should be going back to your old ways, right? It's kind of like if you're wanting to stop drinking or stop eating so much sugar or whatever, you gotta set the scene so that you can behave differently. You can't just decide, all right, I'm gonna stop drinking, and then you go to the bar with your friends the next night. You're gonna drink. It'd be
Yeah.
really hard to not drink, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta surround yourself by people who realize the power of peaceful parenting and who are committed to stopping the aggression, to stopping the behaviors that are getting in the way of our sweet boys, like living their biggest, best lives. Absolutely. But also that feel good to us, that are humane, that are treating our little ones like the amazing human beings that they are.
Love it. I would be remiss if you want to check her out on Facebook. One of the places, Tosha Schore, your partner in parenting boys. That's one of the many places you can, but specifically for this conversation, you can also check her out on Facebook. But the main reason why we're here, the Out with Aggression workshop, there is the link. Tosha, as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company. And maybe one day, if the universe has it right, we will actually take a picture side by side with each other. But you're in California, and I know the heat is ridiculous in California these days.
Oh my God, it's been like 113. Yesterday, 113 here. Today, I think it's supposed to be cooler, just in the 90s. Then tomorrow, back up to 108.
Well, please.
Well, you don't even use Fahrenheit, do you?
No, we use Celsius, so that's going to be about 50 degrees Celsius around there. More than that, probably about 50, 55. So to you, your family, and your community, may you stay safe, give yourselves grace, and also don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And we will see you soon. And thanks again for taking time out of your positive, productive schedule.
Yeah, we'll see you in the workshop.
Yes, yeah, we do have a workshop to do in a few minutes, so that's why we're sort of cutting it short. So take care, Tosha. We'll see you soon. All right, family. Great initiative. And boys are so important. Girls are important too. But with the passion that myself and Tosha have, whether it's with men or with boys, there's lots of services out there for women and mothers, rightly so. But I always hear, especially from the women and the mothers, there isn't hardly anything for men and boys. Well, let's start turning it around by taking this course, this workshop. All right. So my name is Dr. Vibe. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who watched this live on the replay. If you want to find out more about me, those are the different places you can catch me: website, email, YouTube and Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, I end off my conversations with this: live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger and better and higher and wider. And we're broadcasting this right near the beginning of the school year 2022. Want to wish all parents and caregivers that have children, whatever level of schooling, we're saying that they're going to have an outstanding year. They are a blessing, and we are going to raise them to be great individuals for the future. So God bless, peace well, keep the faith, walk good.